In the heart of a sprawling, verdant rainforest, where ancient trees towered like wise guardians and the air pulsed with the scent of rich loam and wild orchids, the first blush of dawn began to awaken the world. Soft, golden light filtered through the dense canopy, casting intricate patterns on the forest floor, where dew clung to broad leaves and delicate ferns unfurled their fronds. The early morning mist, heavy with the fragrance of damp earth and blooming flora, lent an almost mystical quality to the scene, a quiet promise of renewal and the start of a new day. Amid this natural symphony, an aged orangutan named Sari stirred from her slumber high in the interlacing branches of a venerable fig tree. Her fur, long and grizzled with the wisdom of many seasons, absorbed the warmth of the rising sun. Sari moved with a measured grace, each deliberate step reflecting a lifetime of navigating the intricate labyrinth of vines and lofty boughs. Though her eyes had seen countless wonders over the years, it was her deep, empathetic heart that truly connected her to the vibrant pulse of the rainforest. As Sari descended slowly from her arboreal haven, the forest seemed to exhale, a gentle rustling of leaves and distant calls of tropical birds weaving together in a tender chorus. The symphony was interrupted by a subtle sound, almost lost in the harmonious murmur of morning life, a faint, labored whimper emanating from the lower levels of the undergrowth. Sari paused, her sensitive ears catching the soft cry that hinted at distress. With a tilt of her head and a furrowed brow that betrayed concern, she began to make her way along a familiar path where the dense vegetation gave way to a small clearing. Here, the forest floor was soft and spongy underfoot, blanketed with fallen leaves and the gentle hum of insects beginning their daily work. Sari's careful footsteps stirred the quiet, and as she approached the source of the sound, the world seemed to hold its breath. In a secluded nook, partially concealed by thick tangles of vines and moss-laden logs, lay a young turtle. Its mottled shell, dulled by the grip of mud and time, contrasted starkly with the vibrant greens and earthy browns of its surroundings. The turtle's small body was still, its movements sluggish, and its leg was caught in a twisted mass of discarded vines, a cruel snare that impeded its natural rhythm and left it vulnerable. The injured turtle emitted a series of soft, pained sounds, a desperate plea mingling with the whispers of the forest. Sari knelt beside the creature, her large, expressive eyes filled with compassion as she surveyed the damage. The interplay of light and shadow revealed every detail, the rough texture of the entangling vines, the tender, delicate skin of the turtle's injured limb, and the faint, persistent tremor of its unsteady breathing. In that moment, the rainforest, with all its ancient power and mystery, bore witness to an unfolding drama of survival and care. Sari's seasoned instincts took over as she extended a careful, calloused hand toward the turtle. Each movement was measured, infused with a deep understanding of the fragile balance of life in the wild. The gentle rustle of her movements blended with the ambient sounds, the distant hum of a waterfall, the soft chatter of morning primates, and the rhythmic drip of condensation from nearby leaves. All these sounds underscored the urgency of the turtle's plight and the tender resolve in Sari's heart. In this tranquil dawn, under the watchful gaze of the rainforest's ancient sentinels, Sari's discovery marked the beginning of an extraordinary act of compassion. The injured turtle, a small creature caught in the relentless grip of nature's own forgotten debris, was about to receive an unexpected gift, the kindness of a gentle giant who would soon extend a nurturing hand, or rather, a protective embrace. The stage was set, a serene, dewy morning where the convergence of life, fragility, and deep-rooted empathy promised that even in the wild, acts of mutual aid could illuminate the path to healing and hope. As Sari ambled slowly along the forest floor, the early morning light began to filter more fully through the dense canopy, illuminating hidden pockets of the rainforest in a soft, ethereal glow. The symphony of awakening life, chirping birds, rustling leaves, and the distant gurgle of a stream created a backdrop for her deliberate journey. Yet amid the usual chorus of the wild, a distinct, faint sound began to rise, a quiet series of labored, almost imperceptible sighs and rustles, as if nature itself were crying out in distress. Intrigued and concerned, Sari altered her course toward the source of the melancholy noise. Her experienced ears picked up every nuance, a slight shift in the undergrowth, the soft whimper of strained movement, and guided her through a narrow passage marked by a tangle of vines and moss-covered logs. There, in a small, secluded clearing bordered by clusters of ferns and draped with dangling vines, Sari's sensitive eyes fell upon a heartbreaking sight. At the center of the clearing lay a young turtle, its mottled, earthy shell dulled by a thick layer of mud. The creature was ensnared in a clumsy, discarded mass of vines and remnants of long-forgotten rope, which had wrapped tightly around its fragile leg. Each attempt the turtle made to wriggle free only served to tighten its bonds, and its small, unsteady body shuddered with both pain and exhaustion. The turtle's eyes, though tiny, glistened with a desperate plea, a silent, almost imperceptible call for help that resonated deeply with Sari's compassionate spirit. Kneeling beside the injured creature, Sari took in every detail of the scene with a mixture of sorrow and determination. The ground around the turtle was soft and spongy from decayed leaves and rain, and droplets of condensation clung to the broad leaves overhead. In the stillness of that moment, the forest itself seemed to pause, its usual hum of activity replaced by the weight of the turtle's suffering. The vines, coarse and tangled, were a stark reminder of the relentless forces of neglect and decay that sometimes inflict harm on the living. Gently, Sari reached out with her strong, time-worn hands. She traced the contours of the ensnaring vines, her touch both cautious and caring, as she assessed the extent of the turtle's injury. Each rustle of the leaves and every soft drip of moisture from the canopy added to the intimate atmosphere of the clearing, a quiet stage where nature's fragility was laid bare. In her heart, Sari felt the immense responsibility that comes with witnessing such vulnerability, and she silently vowed that this wounded creature would not be left to suffer alone. The forest, with its myriad sounds and textures, bore witness to the unfolding drama of compassion. The turtle's labored breaths mingled with the ambient chorus of the rainforest, and in that tender exchange, the call for help grew louder in the language of nature. Sari's eyes, filled with a deep-seated empathy honed by years of life in the wild, glistened with the resolve to act. Every fiber of her being urged her to disentangle the cruel grasp of the vines, to restore freedom to the little turtle, and to reaffirm the timeless bond between all living beings in this vibrant, if sometimes harsh, ecosystem. Thus, in the soft embrace of a rainforest morning, amid shafts of light and the gentle murmur of awakening life, the discovery of the injured turtle became a poignant turning point, a desperate plea echoing through the undergrowth that would soon spark an act of selfless kindness, setting in motion a tale of mutual aid that would transform lives in the heart of the wild. In the quiet aftermath of the discovery, the rainforest held its breath as Sari moved closer to the trapped turtle with deliberate care. The soft hum of the forest, the whisper of wind through ancient branches, the distant murmur of a hidden stream, and the steady chorus of awakening life formed a gentle backdrop for the compassionate act that was about to unfold. With graceful determination, Sari knelt beside the injured creature, her seasoned hands steady and sure. Her eyes, reflecting years of wisdom and empathy, took in every detail: the coarse, entangling vines, the delicate, uneven shell of the turtle, and the subtle tremor of its labored breaths. In that intimate moment, the forest seemed to lean in, its myriad sounds softening to allow the quiet rhythm of mutual trust to fill the space. Sari's thick fingers, calloused from decades of living in the wild, carefully reached toward the twisted mass of vines that held the turtle captive. Each movement was imbued with both caution and tenderness, as if she were handling something both fragile and precious. The rough texture of the vines pressed against her skin, yet she worked with a calm precision that spoke of deep respect for all living things. With measured strokes, she began to unravel the fibers one by one, her tools simple: a few carefully chosen sharp leaves and the natural wisdom of her own hands, to cut away the binding grip without inflicting further pain. As she worked, the turtle's eyes, small and filled with a mixture of fear and cautious hope, met Sari's in a silent dialogue of vulnerability and assurance. Every soft snip of the makeshift tool echoed through the clearing, each sound a step toward liberation. The forest around them responded in kind, the gentle rustle of leaves and the soft drip of condensation from broad fronds underscored the quiet determination of the moment. The intervention was not hurried, rather, it unfolded as a slow, deliberate process. Sari paused frequently to gauge the turtle's response, her warm, low murmurs carrying comfort and reassurance. With each freed strand of vine, the turtle's tense body relaxed ever so slightly, and its labored breaths began to steady. The once cramped space around the injured leg gradually opened, revealing tender skin and the promise of restored movement. In that prolonged interval, time itself seemed to transform. The interplay of light and shadow, dappled beams filtering through the canopy, cast gentle patterns upon the forest floor, as though nature itself celebrated the act of healing. Sari's careful intervention was more than a rescue, it was an expression of the profound interconnectedness of all creatures in the rainforest. The turtle, once ensnared by remnants of human carelessness, now found solace in the nurturing presence of the wise orangutan. Finally, with a last deliberate cut, the final strands of the vine fell away, drifting lazily on the humid air like discarded memories. The turtle shuddered in a mix of relief and residual pain, its small body quivering as it absorbed the newfound freedom. Sari cradled the turtle gently, lifting it with both strength and compassion, and carried it slowly toward a nearby pool of clear water, a natural sanctuary where the process of healing could begin anew. In that tender, transformative moment, the rainforest bore witness to an act of mutual aid that transcended species. Sari's gentle intervention not only freed the turtle from its entrapment but also kindled a spark of hope that would ripple through the lush expanse. The quiet heroism of the aged orangutan, executed with both grace and profound empathy, became a living testament to the enduring power of compassion in the heart of the wild. After the final strands of the entangling vine fell away, a profound stillness settled over the secluded clearing. The injured turtle, now free from its cruel restraints, lay quietly for a heartbeat as if absorbing the sudden gift of liberation. Sari cradled the creature tenderly in her strong, weathered arms, feeling the rhythmic pulse of its heart, a steady, fragile drumbeat that echoed the resilience of life itself. Slowly, she began a careful journey along a well-trodden forest path that meandered toward a secret pool known only to the inhabitants of this ancient realm. The path was lined with soft, moss-covered stones and bordered by ferns whose fronds shimmered with droplets of dew. Every step Sari took was measured and deliberate, as though the entire rainforest were conspiring to guide her and the turtle toward renewal. The natural sanctuary, a crystalline pool nestled within a grove of towering kapok trees, radiated a gentle luminescence as the filtered sunlight danced on its surface. Here, the water was cool and clear, a pristine mirror reflecting the vivid tapestry of green life all around. Sari lowered the turtle onto a bed of soft, damp leaves by the water's edge, where its mottled shell could rest safely and begin its journey toward healing. For hours that felt like both an eternity and a single, tender moment, the rainforest embraced the pair in a cocoon of quiet rejuvenation. Sari sat nearby, her large, soulful eyes never leaving the turtle, while the gentle lapping of the water mingled with the distant calls of howler monkeys and the whisper of the wind through the canopy. With each passing minute, the turtle's labored breathing softened, and its small limbs began to stir as if testing the promise of renewed freedom. The sanctuary became a place of transformation not only for the turtle but for the entire forest. Nearby, delicate orchids unfurled their petals, and vines draped in vibrant moss cascaded over ancient boulders. Even the light, filtered through the thick foliage, seemed to shine with a benevolent glow, blessing the moment with an almost sacred quality. Sari's careful ministrations, gentle nudges, soft murmurs, and quiet moments of stillness served as a bridge between the wounded past and the hopeful future. In the days that followed, the clearing at the pool turned into a living haven of recovery and renewal. Sari would return daily, carrying fresh leaves and ripe fruits from the forest's bounty, sharing them with the turtle as if offering nourishment for both body and spirit. Over time, the turtle's movements grew steadier, its shell began to regain a hint of its former luster, and its eyes, though still small and cautious, held a glimmer of trust and gratitude. The transformation did not go unnoticed. Other creatures of the rainforest, from the darting hummingbirds to the slow-moving sloths, seemed to pause in their daily rhythms to witness this quiet miracle of mutual aid. Even the ancient trees, silent witnesses to countless cycles of life and renewal, appeared to lean in as if to offer their own silent benediction. Sari, too, found that her heart was quietly changed by the experience. The act of caring for the injured turtle rekindled memories of her own struggles and triumphs, deepening her empathy for every living being in the vast, interconnected web of life. In the soft rustle of leaves and the distant murmur of the forest, she heard a promise, a vow that even in the harsh realities of the wild, compassion could bloom into a force for healing. Thus, in that sacred haven by the crystalline pool, a new beginning took root. The turtle, once ensnared by remnants of human carelessness, embarked on a slow but steady journey toward recovery. And Sari, the gentle guardian of the rainforest, continued her quiet vigil, a living reminder that even the smallest act of kindness can spark a ripple of hope, transforming the heart of the wild and renewing the ancient bonds that connect all creatures.